I was actually surprised people were interested in learning more about this. Okay, for those who don't know what stock footage is, it's just pre-recorded footage that's then used in a later production or could be sold on a marketplace and used later for someone else's production. And you'll see this a lot on the news and in like documentaries and stuff like that. So I don't really know where to go with this because I could go a lot of different ways. So I'm just going to give an overview of some of the websites I use and some of the pros and some of the cons, I guess. We'll just start right away with Shutterstock. It's kind of one of those guys that have been out there for a while. I sell pretty good on the site. All the sites I'll be talking about, you need to apply to get onto them, and then they want to see your current portfolio, which is just kind of like you can just, if you have a reel, you can show them that. And then once you get approved, then you can, upload all your content, and then it has to get looked at by their staff, and then they approve it or reject it. And that's kind of the same for all the different companies that I work with. And then the next one's Pond5. They're really cool because you can set the price that you want to sell your stock at, which is really cool. So you still split with Pond5, but you get to set your price. Do you want to undercut the majority of the competition, or do you feel that that piece of content is very unique and can't be reproduced, so you can sell it for more? Story blocks, it used to be called video blocks, but now it's just called story blocks. They were really cool because you got to keep all of the commission, so, or whatever the price was. So it used to be $49, everything on their site, outside the membership stuff. So the only thing that you had to, you got hit with was the credit card fee. But now that they've turned it to story blocks, and it seems like they're adding a whole bunch of other stuff, because they used to be just video. Now they've added a ton of different things. They've cut it this year down to 50%, which really sucks. But, it is what it is. With all of these sites, you can sell on all of them. You do have to state that you're, non-exclusive, and then you can sell on all of them, and it's perfectly fine. A lot of people do it. The only time you sell exclusively is if you get on like Getty and you have like a deal with them or something of that nature. There's a couple other sites where you can sell exclusively too. I think all of them actually, but then you could sell at higher amounts and they take less commission. But I kind of like the idea of selling on a ton of different sites. Adobe Stock is really cool because it integrates with all of their programs. So you put something on here, and let's say you take a picture and someone is in Adobe and they want to find a picture of an old guy with a dog, right? They type old guy with a dog, and this picture here pops up. They can drop it into their Photoshop, and then they can manipulate it all they want. And then if they decide that that is actually an asset that I want to be a part of this project, then they can hit purchase. The watermark comes off. They get the full res version of that right back into their project. And that's the same with Premiere as well. You can pull in assets, and then you can put them in your timeline. You can cut it all up, and then if it is something that you have interest in, you can just hit purchase, and the watermarks come off, and you get the high res version, which is pretty cool. Getty, their stuff is like the cream of the crop stuff. It's actually pretty difficult to get onto Getty unless you have outstanding work. A lot of people just get onto their sister website, which is iStock. Your stuff still gets looked at before it gets approved for the website, but they are a little more lenient, and they allow all different levels of production. So like I was saying before, all the websites you have to get approved for. So you just show them your portfolio. They all are a little bit differently how they work. And then once you're approved, if you get approved, then you can start uploading all of your content that you have that's pre-cut to the specifications that they allow on their website. For the format, they do a motion JPEG, which is kind of not really seen that much, but in the stock world, it's everywhere. That's kind of a lot of the stuff is motion JPEG. That's what I use. They're actually ridiculously large files, but if you're shooting with like higher end cameras, then it really retains a lot of that quality, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you submit all of your content, and then they have to go through like a process of reviewing it, and then they'll give you feedback if something didn't work. So if you have like a bunch of shots that all look the same, they'll probably reject them, and they'll say like, oh, multiples of similarly looking shots. If something's very blurry, out of focus, and the overall shot isn't good, they'll say quality. There's a bunch of different reasons why they would can't or not accept a shot. And that's kind of one of the things that you just have to go with. So if you want to, actually make money on stock, by all means, you can put up your stuff, but don't expect to sell and, make a ton of money. It's really a numbers game. The more you get up there, the more likely you are to start selling and to actually start making money. What you'll see is that if you search the internet for communities of people that sell or shoot stock, what you'll notice is that there are a couple of forums out there, and those forums are, for me, it's actually really funny because it's just a whole bunch of people with very small portfolios like on their website, because everyone has their portfolio in their what is that called, a signature, and you click on it, they might only have like 120 shots, right? But they'll be in 30 different threads talking about how this company's trash, you haven't made any money, and instead of wasting your time and expressing your dislike for a company, why don't you take that time and make more content, double that content, or that amount of content, and get even more shots up there. And a lot of the time, once you start to get more and more shots up there, you start to really sell stuff. I would say it probably wasn't until I got around the 300 shot mark that I started to actually see sales coming in. And they weren't many sales, but they were at least sales. The one thing that I did say is the story blocks, but video blocks before, it used to be like one of my go-tos because it was like $49 for each sale. Like, fuck yeah, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the other sites, they sell your footage, but they are getting a commission for having it on their site, which completely makes sense because they have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of buyers on their website, so why not, and they're posting everything, they do everything except for make the content. You just have to do that. And then once you get going, you get some footage up there, then you start to see some money coming back, and it's kind of cool. I wouldn't say just get a whole bunch of gear and go out and do it. Like, I just do it on the side. The biggest thing I can say is it's a numbers game. The more you have on there, the better you are. I would say a small portfolio is 1,000 shots. It's just kind of how it is. One unique thing that just popped in my head was Adobe Stock. One of the cool things, I think they provide this to everyone, but they provide it to me, and I get emails about it, is that if you, I don't remember the amount. I think you have to have 300 items. I could be wrong on these numbers, but I know they're pretty low. I think it's 300 items in your portfolio, and you need to sell $500 worth of footage in a 12-month span, and you get all their products for free. All of their Adobe Cloud products for free for a year. So that's kind of like a perk. I mean, I do everything DaVinci Resolve, so there's no real need for that unless you want like Photoshop, but that's one of the perks. That's a perk of just them. The other ones don't really have anything. But yeah, I didn't really know where to take this. I didn't really know what to say. There's kind of tons of little things that I could add in here and there with the ways to upload and different things like that. I didn't really know which way to go about it. People just said they wanted to know more, so this is the knowing more. Yeah, I could talk about this for hours and hours because there's a lot of things that frustrated me at the beginning that I wish I knew, that now I obviously do. But the biggest one is don't go to those websites. Even though you want to hear other people's stories, don't go to those websites, because it's just a whole bunch of people that are complaining about their problems and not actually spending time on building their portfolios. So with that being said, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this one. If you have any other ideas or suggestions, leave them down there as well. And with that being said, my name's JR, and thanks for watching.